continue reading from chapter number 4 entitled Transcendental Knowledge. And today we shall be reading and discussing text number 7. Traditionally, as we always do, we shall recite the Mangala Charanam praise. Please feel free to join me behind muted mics. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmalitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yatha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutan Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gourange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusuti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Turubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhye Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschacha Dishitarine Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So dear devotees, it's my great honor and privilege to be in your association during this holy month of Kartik, reciting and discussing Bhagavad Gita. So we are now in chapter number 7. Sorry, not chapter 7, chapter 4, text 7. And just to put this verse in context, so the Lord has explained that this knowledge is speaking to Arjuna. He had previously spoken this to the sun god, and he established the cyclic succession. So Arjuna, on our behalf, is asking a relevant question to the Lord, that the sun god is very ancient. And you, my Lord, you just appeared recently. So how can I understand the statement of yours that you spoke the same signs to the sun god? And Krishna had explained in the previous verse that although he is unborn and his transcendental body never deteriorates, and although I am the Lord of all living entities, I still appear in every millennium in my original transcendental form. And Krishna says that he has taken many births, meaning appearances, in the past, but he can remember all of them, but Arjuna can't. So Krishna explains that he is eternal. He is ever existing. His body never deteriorates, but he comes down in every millennium in his original transcendental form. So that's what we discuss. And Prabhupada ends his purport in text number 6 by saying, a question may now be raised as to why the Lord appears and disappears in this world. This is explained in the next verse. This very, very famous verse. Many people are familiar with this verse. Some of you all through B.R. Chopra's Mahabharat. They will always recite this verse at the beginning. So many people know this verse. Yada yada idharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijhami aham. Oh, let me show the word for word. I always like to show the word for word synonyms. So yada, yada, whenever and wherever, he certainly, dharmasya of religion, glani, discrepancies, bhavati, become manifest, bharata, O descendant Bharata, abhyutanam, predominance, adharmasya of irreligion, tadha at that time, atmanam, self, srijami, manifest, aham, I. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. Purport. The word Srijami is significant herein. Srijami cannot be used in the sense of creation because according to the previous verse, there is no creation of the Lord's form or body, since all of the forms are eternally existent. Therefore, Srijami means that the Lord manifests himself as he is. Although the Lord appears on schedule, namely at the end of Dwapara Yuga, of the 28th millennium of the 7th Manu, in one day of Brahma, he has no obligation to adhere to such rules and regulations because he is completely free to act in any way at his will. He therefore appears by his own will whenever there is a predominance of irreligiosity and a disappearance of true religion. Principles of religion are laid down in the Vedas, and any discrepancy in the matter of properly executing the rules of the Vedas makes one irreligious. In the Bhagavatam, it is stated that such principles are the laws of the Lord. Only the Lord can manufacture a system of religion. The Vedas are also accepted as originally spoken by the Lord himself to Lord Brahma from within the heart, within his heart. Therefore, the principles of Dharma or religion are the direct orders of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Dharmam tu Shakshat Bhagavat Pranitam. These principles are clearly indicated throughout the Bhagavad Gita. The purpose of the Vedas is to establish such principles under the order of the Supreme Lord. And the Lord directly orders at the end of the Gita that the highest principle of religion is to surrender unto him only and nothing more. The Vedic principles push one towards complete surrender unto him. And whenever such principles are disturbed by the demoniac, the Lord appears. From the Bhagavatam, we understand that Lord Buddha is the incarnation of Krishna who appeared when materialism was rampant. And materialists were using the pretext of the authority of the Vedas. Although there are certain restrictive rules and regulations regarding animal sacrifice for particular purposes in the Vedas, people of demonic tendency still took to animal sacrifice without reference to the Vedic principles. Lord Buddha appeared in order to stop this nonsense and to establish the Vedic principles of non-violence. Therefore, each and every avatar or incarnation of the Lord has a particular mission, and they're all described in the revealed scriptures. No one should be accepted as an avatar unless he is referred to by the scriptures. It is not a fact that the Lord appears only on Indian soil. He can manifest himself anywhere and everywhere and whenever he desires to appear. In each and every incarnation, he speaks as much about religion as can be understood by the particular people under their particular circumstances. But the mission is the same, to lead people to God consciousness and obedience to the principles of religion. Sometimes he descends personally, and sometimes he sends his bona fide representative in the form of his son or servant or himself in some disguised form. The principles of the Bhagavad Gita were spoken to Arjuna, and for that matter to other highly elevated persons, because he was highly advanced compared to ordinary persons in other parts of the world. Two plus 2 equals 4 is a mathematical principle that is true in the beginner's arithmetic class and the advanced class as well. Still, there are higher and lower mathematics. In all incarnations of the Lord, therefore, the same principles are taught, but they appear to be higher and lower in varied circumstances. The higher principles of religion begin with the acceptance of the 4 orders and the 4 statuses of social life, as will be explained later. The whole purpose of the mission of incarnations is to arise Krishna consciousness everywhere. Such consciousness is manifest and non-manifest only under different circumstances. So the translation again, wherever and whenever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. Yes, very well known. So let me just make sure that everyone's muted. All right. So the purport, Srila Prabhupada speaks about many aspects. The first 2 words, yada, yada, whenever and wherever. So whenever means according to time. So according to time, the Lord will appear. And wherever means place. So the Lord will appear in various places. And Prabhupada says in the purport that the Lord is not restricted to only appear in India. He can appear in any place because he's free to do so. So the Lord appears at different times, in different forms, in different places, for different purposes. And Prabhupada says there, but the principle is the same. There's 2 things, there's principles and there's details. So the principle of the Lord's appearance is always the same. And that is to re-establish the Jiva's original position. I was listening to 2 lectures by Srila Prabhupada on this verse. And Srila Prabhupada talks about Dharma, the word Dharma. So the Lord says he appears to establish Dharma. So it's like a scale. When Dharma goes up, adharma, irreligion, goes down. And when Dharma goes down, adharma, irreligion, goes up. That's the nature of material world. But what does Dharma actually mean? And Srila Prabhupada says he has tried as far as possible to steer away from defining and translating Dharma, in this lecture Prabhupada says, as religion. And Prabhupada says, if we look at the English dictionary, the English dictionary defines religion as some particular type of faith, be it Christian, Islam, Hindu, Judaism, Buddhism. And we know from experience that people can change their faith. One day they can be Christian and they can change to Hindu. One day they can be Hindu, they can change to Muslim. And it is not uncommon, in fact, in today's times, it is quite common that people can change their faith. So Prabhupada says, because faith can change, he does not like to translate Dharma as religion. And Prabhupada says the Dharma he's talking is occupational duty, intrinsic occupational duty. And Prabhupada gives some examples. He said, what is the intrinsic quality of fire? It is heat. You can move fire from one place to other. It will always emit heat. Then he says sugar. What is the intrinsic quality of sugar? Prabhupada says the intrinsic quality of sugar is, it is sweet. You can never change sugar to be salty. You can never. Sugar will always be sweet because that's the nature of sugar. And then Prabhupada says a chili. The nature of a chili is to be hot. You can't take a chili and expect it to leave a cooling sensation in your mouth. No, because that's the intrinsic quality of a chili. So Prabhupada says Dharma means the intrinsic quality of the soul. That is Dharma. Dharma is not religion. And what is the intrinsic quality of the soul? The intrinsic quality of the soul, devotees, is what? Can someone tell me?
Eternal servant of Krishna. Serve Krishna.
Eternal servant of Krishna, yes. That is the quality of the soul. That is our quality. That cannot be changed. Therefore, when we try to become master in this material world, it doesn't work. Oil and water will never mix. Sugar cannot become salty. Chili cannot become cold. Fire cannot become cold. Same way the soul, we the soul, our intrinsic quality is
to love.
Yes, we are servant of Krishna and we are meant to love Krishna, to serve Krishna with love. And when we are situated in that Dharma, that is the perfect Dharma. So the Dharma that Krishna is speaking about in this verse, is that type of Dharma. Now we know in the Bhagavad Gita, there's a verse there Well, Krishna does something very strange. In text 1866, he says, Sarva Dharmam Parityaja, Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja, Aham Tvam Sarva Papepyo, Moksha Yasyami Ma Suchaha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions, do not fear. In one lecture, Prabhupada says that Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 4:8 that I come down to establish the principles of religion. Then he says in the last instruction of Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Dharmam Parityaja, give up all religion. Now one may question that he came to establish the principles of religion. Now he says, give up all types of religion. So what is this? Contradictory? No, it is not contradictory. He is asking us to give up all types of religion, but he is offering us another type of religion. Mam ekam sharanam vraja. Just surrender unto me. So real religion means to surrender to God. Religion means to abide by the orders of God. That is religion. Simple definition of religion. Religion is dharmam tu shakshat bhagavat. That is a verse that's also quoted in the purport. So this religion that Krishna is talking about in this verse that he is coming to establish, this is not a Hindu religion he's talking about. This is not a Christian religion or faith. Krishna is talking about, Prabhupada says, the occupational duty, the true religion, the intrinsic religion, and that is devotional service. This is ultimately what Krishna is coming down to. Krishna, as Prabhupada says in the purport, he can send his son, he can send his agents according to some place and circumstance, according to their mentality. He can give something to help them progress. But the true Dharma, the Paro Dharma, that is what Krishna comes to establish. Krishna comes personally to establish. There are many people, they say, okay, Krishna came to establish a religion. Krishna didn't do a very good job because some of his activities seem almost irreligious. And many people feel that they rather worship Ram. They rather worship Ram than worship Krishna. Because if you examine the activities of Lord Ram, it was all about Dharma. But if you examine the activities of Lord Krishna, then it's questionable. This is due to a misunderstanding. People are looking at Dharma from a moral point of view. That is not Dharma. Sometimes in some lectures, Srila Prabhupada asks the question, so why does Krishna appear? And then he says, some people say that Krishna appears to re-establish religion and to suppress irreligion. Prabhupada says no. That is not the real reason that Krishna appears. And then Prabhupada says, the real reason Krishna appears is to attract us. Now we are very attracted by the material energy. And Krishna comes and offers us an alternative proposition. He says, come, you are attracted by this temporary material world that's full of miseries. Let me show you what is real life. Let me show you what is real life. So Krishna's manifestation is actually establishing the true, the highest Dharma, which is devotional service. And Krishna shows what is that devotional service. The super excellent, unmotivated, uncontaminated, pure love of the gopis of Vrindavan. And we all know that Krishna did not act morally. Although it seemed that some of the gopis were married. Radharani was married to Abhimanyu. But that was only Krishna's, he was only Krishna's shadow. Due to a poor fund of knowledge, people may think that Krishna is immoral. And by the way, we claim someone to be our wife, our husband. That is just temporary. Everything belongs to Krishna. So Krishna is the real eternal husband of all living entities. Others are just playing the role of husband. Krishna can make that claim. And if those who understand the activities of Krishna, those who hear and read about the activities of Krishna in disciplic succession, then they understand that this is Dharma. So Krishna ultimately comes, and the main reason that Krishna comes is to establish the true Dharma, and that is devotional service. And you can see in the Bhagavatam, there is description of the Das Avatar, the incarnations of the Lord. And in all of those incarnations, we see the ultimate lesson is devotional service. How to perform devotional service. Prahlad performs devotional service. Bali performs devotional service. All of it is about devotional service to Krishna. And this is the ultimate Dharma. There are also people that have doubts about Krishna's appearance. And I always tell this famous story between Akbar and Birbal. Once Birbal, the minister of King Akbar, was talking to Akbar, and he was telling him that the Lord appears personally on earth from time to time. And Akbar found this very, very difficult to digest. And he was saying, no. Why would God come here on earth? Like the other religions, they don't really have a conception of God coming on earth. Why would he come? He's all omnipotent. If he wants to kill demons, he can just by his will kill them. If he wants to establish religion, he can make an arrangement. This religion of yours, which teaches that God has come personally on this earth, it's a bit difficult to accept. And then Birbal told him, okay, you will understand one day. So one day, Akbar and his little grandson, his ministers and Birbal were walking in the palace grounds. And at one point, they came to the big fountain, the big pond in the middle of the kingdom. And the grandson of Akbar was very fascinated by the fish. But by accident, he fell in the water, and it was a deep pond. And he started to flap around, and he was about to drown. And immediately Akbar took his crown out, took his robe, and he dived in, and he pulled his grandson out. And everything was, Now good again. Then the next day, Akbar was speaking to Birbal, and Birbal said, I need to ask you a question about yesterday. He said, yesterday, this event, potentially tragic event happened. When your grandson fell into the pond, you at any point could have just clicked your fingers and tell your minister, your soldiers, your guards, just jump in and save my grandson. But you didn't do that yourself. You just dived in yourself. Why did you do that? And Akbar said, it's pretty obvious, isn't it? It's because of my affection. Because of my affection for my grandson, I just, without thinking and spontaneously, I jumped in myself. And the Birbal said, When I was telling you how the Lord appears, you were saying no, he could send his agents. Now do you understand? And Akbar said, yes. Out of affection for us, living entities, his parts and parcels, Krishna comes down, he appears in this material world. So this is the reason for the Lord's appearance. The Dharma, the real Dharma we're talking is not about religion. And if anybody, and therefore Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, you give up all these superficial dharmas, these ritualistic dharmas, you forget that. And even if I spoke about it before this, you forget. Now you remember, Arjuna, there is only one dharma you should remember, and that is to surrender unto me. All right, dear devotees, I shall stop here. It's now 8:30. We'll take any questions or comments that anyone may have, or reflections. Sandeep Prabhu, you back? Oh, Bobby.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. It's Bobby.
Bobby.
Prabhu's son.
Okay. Oh, I see. I thought maybe your dad's using your car. Is he back?
Yeah, he's back. He's just in a meeting upstairs, but we've got chat going on in the house. So
Okay, nice. Thank you for joining us today.
oh, it's all my pleasure. Thank you so much.
So let's, there is some comments or questions I shall try to take. Okay, Surabhi Mataji saying, Pranam. In today's age, I've seen the cunning people who insult, gossip, hurt feelings, prosper with so much happiness and riches. In fact, simplicity suffers and evil is successful. Will Krishna come? Certainly he has come. He has come. Krishna says he appears in every millennium. So in this millennium he has come. He has given the principles of religion. And he said, surrender unto me in the Bhagavad Gita. And Krishna gave the principles of religion, but he didn't cover very much the principles of surrender. If surrender is the key aspect of religion, the details of that surrender was lacking. How to surrender? What does surrender mean? How do I perform devotional service? So the Lord appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu only 500 years ago. Only 500 years ago. And he established the Sankirtan or the Yuga Dharma. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, in this Kali Yuga, the Yuga Dharma is the Sankirtan Yagya, Sankirtan Dharma. Anyone who engages in the Sankirtan Dharma will rise above all of the effects of Kali Yuga. So Surabhi Mataji, the Lord has given the Dharma. He's establishing the Dharma. Anyone who aligns himself with that Dharma, they will rise above all the effects of Kali Yuga. And that's Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's proposition to everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Meenakshi Mataji, you have your hand up. Yeah. Sorry,
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I've got two questions
yes, Mataji.
that are just going in my head.
were going round and round. The first one is that although we say that Lord can appear anywhere on the earth, I know the prophets appear in other places, but Lord himself only comes to India. So far, all his births have been in India. And I'm trying to imagine how would it be if Krishna appeared in Russia or Krishna appeared in States? How would that work? How would, like we've got Vrindavan where Krishna appeared. That sort of thing are coming to my mind.
Yeah, Srila Prabhupada actually answered that question. How Krishna has appeared in the West. He says Krishna has appeared in different forms in the West. One form is the holy name, his holy name, right? And Krishna is non-different from his holy name. Non-different. All of Krishna's potencies are there in the holy name. That's one form. The second form that Krishna has appeared in the West is in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is non-different from Krishna. And Prabhupada says in the purport to the first canto, 3rd chapter, text number 40, that one can obtain from the Srimad Bhagavatam the same benefits that one can obtain from the personal presence of the Lord. You open up 1st canto, 3rd chapter, text number 40, Mataji, and you read the last 2 paragraphs. Prabhupada says that. So Krishna appears in the West in different ways, but also he appears in other planets. Right now, somewhere Krishna is appearing. In some space in the material universe, the Lord is appearing right now as we speak. And that is not necessarily India. So yada, whenever and wherever the Lord can appear. So that's my understanding, Mataji.
And also, Prabhuji, if it says I appear when it's this irreligion,
yes.
Does it mean to say that he appeared in India because there was irreligion there? Yes. Or for the world?
Yeah, Kamsa was propagating irreligion. He was killing young babies. Hiranyakashipu was in India. He was doing so many nefarious activities. Ravana, while he was in Lanka, which was part of India at that point in time, but that's still the same area, Ceylon. So yes, irreligion was there in India too, Mataji.
The second question, Prabhuji, is, you say, we say, give up all kinds of religion, yes. But we have so many other temples than ISKCON, and all of them, they cannot give up demigods, and they follow that form. They don't listen to Krishna. They put Krishna as one of the gods, and they find it very hard to, in the West, where they haven't got this kind of background, it's easy for them to take to Krishna consciousness. But in India, yes, Krishna consciousness is increasing. At the same time, there are people who will never kind of, they still are attracted to demigods and whatever else.
Yes, Prabhupada makes an important point in the purport about people's mentality. So Srila Vyasadeva, when he wrote the Vedas, he wrote different sections of the Vedas, Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, Upasana Kanda, different aspects to cater for the different mentalities. So Vyasadev's idea was that people who are very materialistic, first they will start off with demigod worship to get their material desires fulfilled. But anyone with a little bit of intelligence, they will see that there are so many different demigods. Not all of them are supreme. and can be supreme. There has to be someone higher. So then they'll conclude, yes, Indra is the king of the demigods. Let's surrender to Indra. Let's worship Indra. Then they'll worship Indra and they'll see, well, Indra in the Shastras, there are so many times that he makes mistakes and he worships Krishna and so on. So he cannot be God. So Vyasadeva, he thought that people, just by natural progression and intelligence, they will finally arrive at Krishna. So he said, let me recommend this gradual path of progression. But, you know, as we know from the Bhagavatam, he realized that this doesn't work because people are so materialistic. Sometimes they stay stuck in that space. They stay stuck in that space. So the ultimate goal in progression is there, Mataji. And the ultimate goal is the Paro Dharma, which is a devotional service to Krishna. A pratihata, a haituki, a pratihata, unmotivated, uninterrupted devotional service to Krishna. But the people's mentality is just so gross. They miss the point. They miss the plot, as they say. I don't know if that helps answer your question, Mataji.
Yeah, thank you for that. It does answer it. And I've personally experienced that here in Preston, because there is a Gujarati temple here. And whenever any Krishna conscious devotees have come, or we've tried to do Bhakti Vriksha, we fail because they still go to temple. They prefer, you know, and they are very determined not to let, you know, Krishna consciousness, they're very afraid of it. But luckily, I'm very fortunate, after all that struggle, we've got now few devotees who are, you know, part of the Bhakti Vriksha, and they're not influenced by the politics of the temple, you know, the Gujarati temple.
Yeah, that's good. Just keep it up like that, Mataji. Forgive Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's process, and you will get the sincere ones.
Haribol. Haribol. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So there's another question here by Surabhi Mataji. Also, these books that you distribute, did it ever happen that any disinterested person may just throw some important books away after persuasive distribution? Also, attitude on book distribution is important. Once, 2-3 years back, near my place, I was shouted upon by a rude lady to give money for a book, which I happily gave. Yeah, Prabhupada never wanted that. Prabhupada said we should always leave people with a favorable impression so that they'll feel inclined to go to look what's inside the book. So yeah, that's not good to be shouted at. Does it happen that people sometimes give away books or throw away books? Yes. There was one devotee in South Africa, his name was Radha Raman. And he said how he became a devotee. He had some job in the local recycling center. And one day he was in the recycling center, and items were recycled in the dump. And there he saw a very attractive magazine. Actually, it was a Back to Godhead magazine. And he was so attracted that he said he needed to pick it up. So he picked that magazine up, he read it, and he was completely blown away by the knowledge that was contained in that magazine. And he became a devotee, a very nice, sincere devotee, Radharaman Prabhu. So that also happens. What can we do? It's the risk we take. It's the risk we take.
Thank you so much, Pranam. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. And there's a Rupa Mataji. Thank you, Supra Mataji, Santosh Mataji, for constant. Yes, nice. That's a good quality of a devotee, to encourage others, which I see all of you all do. Very encouraging. Then there's a question or a comment from Jay. If the Mahabharata pastime is being repeated all the time in other universes, Does the same thing happen all the time with the same personalities involved? Not necessarily. Sometimes the Mahabharata is this thick, sometimes it's this, just like Bhagavatam. Our Bhagavatam in this universe is 18,000 verses. There's other universes, the Bhagavatam is 200,000 verses. Sometimes it's more than that. So the Lord's pastimes are ever fresh. Even if it was the same thing, it's always relishable. But it does not always be the same. There's nuances, there's variations, but the principles of what is being taught always remain the same. Okay, I think that is all the questions.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Jolly Mataji.
I'm just responding to the book distribution incident. I
Yes.
just wondered, how is it that we get attracted to see the negative in things so easily? I mean, I can't imagine somebody shouting at you and you would give in and give them money. So I'm not sure what went on there, but I think, you know, I think we need to look at us. What is it in us that attract that kind of, you know, to perceive that is all negative and not the goodness? Because even if the book is thrown out, somebody might pick it up. Even I've heard people picking these holy books from skips, you know, and dustbins and things, and make good of it and turn their lives right around. But even if it is not being used, you're doing your bit, and hopefully, you know, the book is going to be used by somebody else. You know, you don't know. Behavior of people vary in the world. We know that we face different behavior from individuals, and they surprise us sometimes, but that doesn't mean you go along and think the world is full of negativity. There's some amazing good percentage of goodness in the world.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. And we may get some overzealous book distributors, but if their intentions are sincere, Krishna will purify them. And yeah, and the books, you know, sometimes they do get thrown away, but overall, the impact is positive. It's positive.
Totally, yes.
Yeah. Okay,
Thank
thank you for that comment, Jolly Mataji. So if there's no more questions or comments,
Where is the goodness in the world?
where's the goodness?
Where is it?
Where is the goodness?
Where is the goodness in the world? I don't see any. Sorry. Pranam.
Sometimes the naked eyes cannot see. So we need to clean our eyes sometimes. It's not a criticism. It's just that I think we all carry that bit of need to cleanse, you know, and not.
Yeah, I
to,
think it just depends on
the goodness is there. You got to
Yes.
take it. Nobody's going to give it to you on a plate.
I know. It's all
The divinity is there,
and, you know,
Surabhi.
experiences and perceptions are really important, actually, how we develop ourselves daily, you know. And yes, we need to look upon a situation with different perspectives as well. It's not that we are just looking at it from one perspective and that's ours. We are looking at it from different kinds of perspectives out there. It's not that, it's just that, you know, what we are, our perceptions, our experiences build us up.
That's a valid comment, Surabhi Mataji. That is valid. This material world is, Prabhupada would say, it's no fit place for a gentleman. It's no fit place for a gentleman. And there's lots of dark elements in this Kali Yuga. But the devotees of the Lord, they like to propagate the mission of the Lord. And that is to every living entity is intrinsically divine. Intrinsically divine. They're just covered by the modes of nature and they go in the wrong direction. but intrinsically every soul, every jiva is divine. And the devotee's duty is to help awaken the divinity. And that's how we'll change the world.
Thank
So
you.
we'll,
Thank you.
Devotees are good, Prabhuji. Devotees are good, and there are lots of good people in the world, lots of good things happening as well. We have to see the positive and the negatives.
yeah, don't be blind to the negatives, but be hopeful. All right, dear devotees, I think I shall stop here.
Prabhuji, if I may say, our chat is the best thing. is the best thing in the world. Thank you for the association.
I'm glad you think like that and you feel
Thank
like
you so
that.
much. Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
True.
Hare Krishna. So we'll conclude with Vaishnava pranams. Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto all the devotees of the Lord, who are just like desire trees, for they can fulfill the desires of everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Vancha kalpa turubhyascha Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Ila Prabhupada ki Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for the
Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, everybody, for a wonderful